This whole stretch, you guys on the road back to back to back. It seems like it's begging for an energy guy, a passion guy, an effort guy like you. Do you feel like your role even increases, your value even increases more than it has as you guys head forward to this next week?
I don't think so. I think my role stays the exact same because we found the winning recipe in previous games, and there's no reason to switch it up, even though we're on the road, which is going to be a great opportunity for us to show that winning recipe again.
Very good. And just curious, does it? So many people reference you as a scrappy guy, a glue guy. Does it ever bother you at all? I mean, you were a talented player back in high school. You came here with some skills. Does it ever rub you wrong or give you an edge?
No, I love it. I love the role that Coach Smart has set out for me, and it's something that I can do really well. And the skill stuff will come with just time and getting more comfortable with the game. But I love the position I'm at where the coaches have put me.
Thanks.
Matthew, go ahead, please, sir.
Hey, Brock. Yeah, you just talked about your sort of spark plug role. I was wondering, where does that come from? Is that something that comes naturally to you, or is that something you have to sort of psych yourself up for?
That's natural for me, just because I'm not the most athletic or skilled, and working on both of those things. It's just an extra way for me to get play time to help the team out.
I also wanted to ask you, Shaka's talked about you and him not always being on the same page before, but he feels like you guys have sort of an understanding now. How would you characterize your relationship with Shaka now and sort of your role that he's sort of given you?
We have a great relationship. Being an older guy on the team, he can talk to me and tell me what I need to do, and I go and do that. With rebounding and playing defense, those being my two biggest roles. But we have a great relationship, and I love talking to him every day.
Kirk Bowles, go ahead, please.
Do your teammates kid you, Brock, or razz you? I mean, you're such a pest to other teams. And do you think if there were fans in the stands when you're on the road, you'd be like the number one villain in the Big 12?
I would hope so. That would be a lot of fun if that was the case. If people were yelling at me, it makes me feel like I'm doing something right for the Longhorns.
How about your teammates? Do they have a nickname for you, or what do they say about you in practice and stuff?
They don't have a nickname for it. It's just expected at this point. And in games, they just kind of let me go do my own thing. But in practice, try and use it to up the energy, kind of intensiveness in practice throughout the year.
And you mentioned rebounding. Dennis Rodman was famous for his rebounding. And what's some of your viewpoints on, following the ball, getting position, and fighting for rebounds?
The getting position and following the ball in the air is everything for me because I can't jump up to 12 feet. So I've got to go and pick it when it's on the ground or poke it out of people's hands. So just the timing for me is huge when it comes to rebounding.
How high can you jump?
I'd be shocked if I touched 10 foot some days.
Thanks, man.
Bob Ballou, go ahead, please, sir.
Said you're not the most athletic or skilled. I think you can give yourself a little more credit than that. Do you have a guy that you compare yourself to? I know Kirk just mentioned Rodman, but is there a guy that you can kind of you look up to or looked up to growing up or anything like that?
Rodman for sure. Him and Draymond Green for different reasons, but Rodman with his energy and the loose balls and what he brings to the team without having the ball in his hands. And then Draymond Green for similar reasons, talking on defense and having that backup leadership from our two main guys. And
then do you ever wish you scored 20 a night?
It doesn't bother me. I'm happy with 4 loose balls, 2 fouls, and maybe a charge here and there. That's a great game in my eyes.
Awesome. Thanks, Brock.
Brian Davis, please.
Yeah, Brock, these guys are taking my question here. Do you know what it means to play the heel?
I haven't
in wrestling.
I'm not well versed in the wrestling vocabulary.
It means you're the bad guy, right? And it's all the things that you're talking about. It's the bad guy that everybody loves to hate on. And then they go out there and they kick the good guy's butt, right? And you talked about it, but it's like, it's got to be killing you that these arenas are empty because you're going out there playing the heel, and it's like there's no one to really appreciate it. How you elbow these guys, you talk smack to them, you bump them, you scream. How do you feel about that? That you're doing your shtick and it's just to an empty audience?
Sometimes it's a little frustrating throughout the season, but that's COVID. For me, it's just going out for another game, and I would do that no fans or in front of 17,000. I'm just happy to be out there doing my role.
Do you feel like it's your job to make something happen? Because I truly believe you are going to save this team's butt at some point here in March.
No, I don't think it's my job to do something like you said. Just the things that I do are more behind the scenes, smaller, poke the ball out, someone else gets a steal or my load. So kind of the stuff behind the scenes is where I really thrive.
Chris Tavares, please.
Hey, Brock. How did you come into this being your role? Because your freshman year, you played pretty sporadically. And then if I'm remembering correctly, it seems like it took a little while before you were getting regular playing time this season. And then once you did, it kind of became a no-brainer that you were the guy to just do the dirty work. How did you come about to this being your role? What was the process like to getting to this point?
Just growing over the last 3 years. Freshman year and sophomore year, I would put together 1 or 2 days where I would be this really helpful player defensively and a guy that we need in the game. And then I would go a week without doing that. And this year I've been able to put consistency together while being a better player on top of it.
What you touched on it a little bit, your leadership role. You're not the guy with the ball in your hands all the time like Coleman, Ramey, or AJ, but what is your role? Because you do play an important role as a leader on this team, it seems like.
My leadership role focuses on the defensive side with talking, get everyone in position. And then with the guys, they know I'm going to play hard. They don't have to question whether or not I'm going 100% in the game. So that's something that I really pride myself on and I think lead the team with.
And one last one for you. I had a friend who doesn't even live in town anymore text me, "Who's this Brock Cunningham guy? This is awesome. I love watching him play." Have you gotten any random names or people in the basketball world or whatever that just hit you up like, "Hey man, I know you don't know me and I don't know you, but I just love watching you play"? Have you gotten any feedback like that from people you wouldn't expect?
No, I haven't. I'm not on social media a crazy amount. Every now and then, every couple days. So maybe I missed one, but I haven't gotten any messages up to this point.
Thanks.
Scotty, you're muted.
Bob Ballou, please.
Brock, I can't remember if it was last year or 2 years ago that you started the opener and then you didn't play for like 10 games or something. How frustrating was it going through this process of trying to find your role and what your niche was for this team?
It definitely had its ups and downs, some frustrating moments for sure, but getting through it, it's given me a lot of confidence to do anything outside of basketball and within, to know that the work I put in is finally coming to fruition.
And then I know this is kind of a random question. Are you a good guy? Like off the floor? Like, are you a good guy? I feel like everybody's making you out to be this villain. Are you a good dude?
I think we'd all hang out in the off season. I think all the reporters and me should go out.
Yes.
We're in.
I love it.
All right, 2 last ones, one each. Brian Davis and then Kirk Bowles. Brian, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Brock, just wanted to ask you about the series of games coming up. I mean, you guys probably feel like you should have beaten Tech. You probably think you should have beaten Oklahoma, Iowa State. Just these last 4 games here packed into, I guess it's 8 days.
It's going to be an incredible opportunity for our older team to go out on the road and show what we are made out of. I think as I said earlier, we have a winning recipe, and when we use that, we're a really potent team.
Kirk Bowles, last one, please, for Brock.
One, did you ever consider transferring? And do you trash talk at all on the floor? Because you really should.
No, I didn't consider transferring. For me, I felt like I needed to work through freshman and sophomore year and not run away from the challenge. And unbelievably grateful that I did stay and work through those tough times. And then on the court, I do trash talk. It's a lot of fun. Get back to my roots and let the other team know what I'm about.
Kai, I was asking Brock a similar question. You guys are known as the juice guys, energy guys. Shaka talks about that a lot, how you provide that. Does your role get even more valuable since you're about to go on the road back to back almost in such a tight time? Your team's going to need some energy.
Absolutely. It's crucial now because we're going to be playing in foreign environments, going against a away crowd. So we have to have a lot of energy. It's going to be big for guys like me and Brock just to come in and play with that juice, like you said. I think it's going to be huge.
And speaking of juice, collectively, I mean, you guys have been through the ringer with COVID, the winter storm, all of it. Where are you guys, just if you can speak for the collective? I mean, where do you have enough gas in the tank?
Absolutely. I think we do. The biggest thing for us is just staying positive and staying in the moment. We've all talked about how we felt about it as a team when we came back, but these times are tough, and the best thing to do is to stay positive, like I said, and stay faithful. And we just keep working. And the best part of my day is being able to come in here and practice because it's kind of like my peace now. You know, it's the one thing that's constant. So,
Thanks.
Chris Tavares, please.
Hey, Kai. We were just talking to Brock, and so much of the conversation was about what he brings to this team when he's on the floor and his role and the energy and the scrappiness and the dirty plays in a positive way. What is, as his teammate, what does he bring? What do you guys get from him?
he's phenomenal. He just brings that toughness. I think he makes us kind of like just rougher. You know, he plays really hard, brings a lot of energy. He's like a cowboy out there. He's just wild. I love the way he plays. It kind of just boosts me up to go and play harder too.
Looking ahead to Saturday when you're taking on Texas Tech, you guys had a close loss to them in Austin. What do you see from them? What's the mindset like going into there? What are the emotions coming into this final stretch against this team?
It's huge for us to get this win. We went up there and beat them at home last year. So it's going to be big because of the way they beat us. And I think the biggest thing for us going in there is just guarding, playing our brand of defense and staying true to our principles. And once we do that, I think we have the formula to get it done.
Thanks.
Kirk Bowles, go ahead, please, sir.
Kai, have you heard any Brock's trash talking on the floor? Because he says he does engage in that. What are some of his better lines?
He'll just call somebody soft or like some profanity in there, but he's a tough guy. Brock talks a lot of trash in practice too.
Oh, does he get into fights?
Just a little bit.
His motor never stops, does it?
It doesn't.
Yeah. And on the play on the court against Kansas where you got back up with a backflip, or I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't know if it's on YouTube yet, but I imagine the people watching just went crazy. I mean, can you explain how you did that?
A lot of people hit me about that. That's just something I watched WWE a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
So that was something I like to do, like when we be playing wrestling in the house. And it kind of just stuck with me. I was always able to do it.
You're by far the most athletic guy on the team, right?
Oh, no, there's a lot of competition on this team. It's a pretty athletic team.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kirk, don't try that at home, please. Brian Davis, you're up next, please.
Okay, this is perfect now. All right, Kai, what kind of bad guy heel would Brock make in the WWE?
He would for sure be like an Edge or something.
Yeah?
He would be tough. I think the fans will love him. I talked to him about that before. I told him he should get into UFC fighting.
Why do you think he'd be any good at that?
I don't know. He's just a tough guy. He's just kind of like one of those no-limit guys. You see Brock, he trains really hard. So I could imagine him doing stuff like that. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever met.
Have you ever, in practice, have you ever had to say, damn, dude, chill out or something like that to him?
I think everybody's had a moment like that. But yeah.
That's a good thing, though.
Yeah, it's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
Baloo, go ahead, please, sir.
Can anybody take him down in the octagon?
I don't think so.
Nobody on this team?
Never. Oh, on the team? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I thought you just meant in general, like any regular person.
Who could take him down on the team?
Have you seen Jericho Sims?
Kai, what is it that? Where do you get that? I know we use that word juice. Where do you get it before a game?
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
It comes from my love for the game. I'm always really excited to play. And basketball is a sport where I never get nervous before games because it's a team sport and there's so much it's just a fun time. Like when I used to run track, it was more of a serious sport. It's quiet until the event is over. But in basketball, it's loud, there's music, your teammates are juiced up. So it just comes from many different things. Before it used to be the fans, now it's music and my teammates and love for the game. And then also because it was the last home game, it's just a million reasons. And I always keep it into perspective that I'm blessed to be able to play basketball right now. Because I remember being stuck inside, we couldn't hoop for months. And that was tough mentally and, you miss the game. So now every time I get a chance to play, I'm always extra geeked. So that's just kind of where it comes from for me.
And then where do you think you need to improve the most? In your game specific.
Just becoming a consistent shooter and defender, and rebounder. That's going to be the biggest thing for me. I just want to improve on my rebounding and being a consistent shooter at the line and from outside.
Kirk Bowles, back to you.
Yeah, Kai, what do you think when you see these NBA projections, you being a lottery pick, and you coming back next year?
Right now, I'm trying to focus on finishing this season up. I'm blessed to be in those discussions, and I'm really proud because, I put a lot of work in. But I'll be able to answer that question at the end of the season for you.
And you and Jericho Tango, y'all go into it one-on-one. I think as athletic as you guys are, what kind of one-on-one games would y'all have in practice, you and Jericho?
It's really good. We play a lot of one-on-ones. He's very strong. That's the biggest thing. I can't let him get too deep. So when we're playing 3 dribbles, I try to keep him outside the arc. And one time it was me, him, and Greg playing ones. It was some pretty high level one-on-ones going on there. So, but it's always good competition.
Brian Davis, last ones for you, please.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to ask you about, last year when y'all went to Lubbock, the level of intensity that y'all had might have been the best of the whole season. Do you think that the guys understand that everybody has to channel that all the time, especially with this stretch that's coming up that's going to lead into March?
I think because of how much Coach emphasizes bringing energy and because of what we saw from ourselves last game, I think we're starting to realize that as a team, for us to be at our best, it requires us to have a certain level of juice to play well. So I think it's going to be emphasized more by Coach. And, of course, I'm going to bring juice every day, and Brock's going to bring juice every day. And I really think it's going to translate over the next set of games that we have coming up.
And just real quick, this week is kind of like an NBA travel schedule. I mean, this may sound weird, but are y'all kind of excited for that? Flying to different stops and staying in hotels and traveling like the Lakers.
No, it is definitely going to be a really cool experience. We've traveled a lot since we've been here, and it's crazy how fast the season's going by. We only have, I think it's 3 or 4 more games. So it is quite exciting. It's going to be fun going on the road with my friends again. So